All right. Still learning.
Oh, yeah.
Yay, still learning. All right, so I am assuming everything is okay because there's always a delay. So Martin, you're going to get a 1 hour timer started.
Timer going?
That or
Here's my phone.
do we do 2 half hours? Or
Two half
do we do
hours?
half hour? 2 half hours, yes. Yes. What do you think? What do you think? Because we're
Well,
trying to
yeah.
get a schedule going, and no matter what, we're going to give them their full hour.
Yeah.
We can do the polymer clays and molding in 2 parts if we want. Or we can move on to another part of polymer clay use
Mm-hmm.
and maybe do another half hour. Well, let's just say it. Another half hour on Friday, because we're still wondering, quite frankly, what is best time for the patrons at that point.
Mhm.
So I'm going to do a small test here on both of these, and then see if that turns out okay. That has turned out okay. Martin, can you hit test on the comment section of there? That would be great. And oh, I see. That's to just test and post, and go back to the broadcast. Go back to the post. Okay, so why don't we do that? Because we're still trying to learn from you guys. What's the best time for these tiers to be on? Friday nights are not ideal for us because it does not leave us open to events and functions. But it's got to be your guys' call because you're the ones contributing financially to us. Now I'm seeing that the comments are not showing on the post on our iPad, so I am going to go to home. And Martin, if you can stop the timer for me, that would be great.
Stopping the timer.
Stopping the timer. And I am going to look at the published posts and see if it can work on the computer. Okay, my volume is off on the computer. View the post. We're still getting the hang of this, guys. So do that. And wait for it to decide.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's
There's
my
testing.
There's my comment.
So it shows on
Yeah.
here, but not there.
Yeah.
So let's get rid of that. And just get rid of just no, don't get. That's not what I meant. That is not what I meant. That is seriously not what I meant. Okay, so it won't play.
It's still not playing. We'll try it again.
It might not play because
Yeah.
I think I have a
Trackpad issue.
trackpad issue. Yes. 50 trackpad. Yeah,
Filthy,
see?
dirty
It's
trackpad.
dirty trackpad. Okay, so I'm gonna make
Monkey monkey.
Okay. So hello. I got 4 playbacks somehow. Don't know how. And there was something stuck to the
Polymer
inside.
clay.
I think that was polymer clay on the bottom of the trackpad, which would explain a lot.
Yes, it would.
All right. So we're 7 minutes in. So this is what we're going to do, folks. We are going to do this because I'm watching this up and down, and it says there are 2 concurrent viewers, and I'm waiting for it to possibly say 1 because I'm wondering if the iPad watching it counted as a second viewer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what's happening. So if one of our level people is here, I would love for you to say hello so that we can see how it works when other people go and do this. And in the meantime, we're not going to wait because there is a delay. We're not going to wait. We're going to plow ahead. Let's do half an hour today and half an hour on. I'm hoping the second person is the person who requested lunchtime, and we're not too late for them. So even out of respect for them, half an hour today and half an hour on Friday. Let's say, can you please look at our calendar really quickly?
Looking at our calendar.
Now, in all honesty, today, the delay is that I've been feeling a little ill and under the weather, and not of a COVID thing, but of a stomach thing. And it has made it very difficult for me to function in the heat. We've been trying to turn off our air conditioner a lot. It's on right now, so hopefully it's not creating a lot of noise. But we've been trying to turn off the air conditioner as much as possible in order to save electricity. And it unfortunately has left us overheating, and the reality check is that the reality check is plain and simple, and that's I am menopausal. I am at the beginning of that glorious stage in life. So things are affecting me overnight, and we have to reanalyze sleep and everything, but we are determined to pull through for you guys. So Friday, what obligations do we have on
1:30.
Friday?
That's an actual face-to-face, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
an actual face-to-face.
At 1:30 p.m.
At 1:30 p.m.
Mhm.
So easy peasy.
Mhm.
Friday evening, because we have to stay up late on Friday evening because there is a pirate thing we're taking part in on Saturday evening, and then we have our own thing on Sunday afternoon, and it's in 3 different cities. So let's do Friday evening at 6 o'clock, and we will do another half hour then and continue the subject matter and see if we can wrap up the whole Polymer Clay conversation in 3 to 4 broadcasts, and try this new format out. And then we'll be sending a little question and answer thing out to you guys, asking what works for you, and see if we can work it around us. But yes, Friday is a difficult one because it is one of those weekend employment type things. So a convention, when they start back up, will get in the way. But if it works for you guys while the COVID thing is happening, then let's do it. Let's do it. So I see there's another person still watching, it says. So it wasn't the... Okay. And I see the bandwidth is pretty low because we're kind of grainy.
I'm blurry at least.
You're always blurry. So, Martin, can you set a half-hour timer and let's talk about molds and polymer clay?
Half-hour timer and go.
Go. Okay. Can you also send a message to Darrow telling her that we're on Patreon at the moment?
Okay.
So, yes, Martin has set a half-hour timer. So we're going to continue the conversation about polymer clay using some video. It hasn't completely been edited. The edited version will go on... That's not the window I want. We're still getting the hang of this. The edited version will go on Instagram as completely sped up. This is a half-hour video, quickly edited. We have discovered that our QuickTime does not edit and save the way it used to, so I'm assuming it's the updates that are causing that. So we have only a few days to try to still pull a lot together and figure it all out so you guys have a flawless experience, because you're our supporters, you're our patrons, and you're very important to us. So I am going to transition over so we can see the video. There we go. So I have transitioned over so that we can see the video, and I'm coming on down to the comments section so I can see it. Thank you so much for joining us. So this is a little video, quickly edited. We discovered that QuickTime does not save anymore, which is really, really frustrating. And we're going to start with one type of mold, and that's the easy to purchase mold. Now, the easy to purchase mold are these plastic ones. Okay? So I don't think I need the webcam yet because there's no tiny little details.
Yeah.
This is a candy mold. These are really cheap to find. I haven't found this one again, which is kind of upsetting because Martin, this man right here, went and put it in the dishwasher.
I wasn't thinking.
These molds do not take heat well. So it's not like you can push in. There are polymer clay molds out there. They are ideal, but they're not usually the cheapest things. These are usually the cheapest things because the whole candy mold thing is really popular. You've got the little appeals, they heat up, but they don't heat up as much as putting one of these in the oven. So idealistically, when it comes to polymer clays, you want something that can go into the oven. But most of us are not going to do that. We're not going to invest, especially if we're doing a one-off or just a couple, and we want the mold because we're not confident, or we're going to take a mold of something, which we'll show you in a moment. And there's going to be a whole series of broadcasts on just molds as we recreate a lot of the molds that were left behind in BC. Grrr. So this is the kind of mold that's easy to find. It's cheap, it's simple. It wasn't being used for polymer clays and all this other stuff until someone put it in the dishwasher and it worked. So now I can't use it on chocolate because chocolate is a liquid, and as it sets, the whole warpiness of it,
Flow out.
yeah, it's not going to set properly. So I'm looking for more of these. I actually picked these up. There's 2 of them. He destroyed the other one too. Sorry, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I destroyed my Stormcrow heat-sensitive mug, and you destroyed the Doctor Who heat-sensitive mug.
Oh, that's a good
We're
point.
really doing horrible on this front.
You know what? We may have a problem here. Click mic auxiliary on.
What? Oh no! Have you guys not been...
We may have been muted all this time. I just noticed that. So, okay, folks.
I'll type out whatever's missing later on today. Oh yeah, now I see it going up and down.
Mm-hmm. All right then.
Anyway, easiest, quickest mold for anything is the candy molds. So I'm going to quickly recap, is the candy molds. And the candy molds are easy to find because you can get them at Michael's and whatever on sale. I got these in Joann's in the States. But this was a chocolate mold, and they take heat to a certain degree. You can't put them in the oven, which for the polymer clays is a bit of a frustration, as you'll see in the other video, as I struggle to push it in. Because you have to push it all in. You have to really work the polymer clay and push it in if you want to get the details. So it's not very flexible, but that's okay. The candy usually just pops out because you let it set. You heat up the candy, you pour it in. It's meant for a liquid thing. I'm going to pause because it took me too long. It's meant for a liquid, basically, and the liquid sets. So when it went into the dishwasher, due to Martin's lovely little folly, and we've destroyed heat-sensitive mugs too. Once you get used to a dishwasher, your brain kind of goes elsewhere, and you forget because it's so convenient to just throw things in the dishwasher. You can't clean these things that way.
Thank God we don't have a dishwasher at the moment.
Yeah, really? Yeah, but this is already destroyed.
I know.
So I'm looking for another one. I got this in Joann's in the States. They were really, really cheap. They were like $3 each, which is nice. And then you put the chocolate on one side and the other side, and you stick the 2 together, and you got a whole skull. Or the appeals, the candy pucks that they sell at the stores too. So we will get into properly making your own molds and that kind of process as well. At a later date, we'll do a series on molding and casting because we have to replace the molds that we left behind in BC. Oops. Again, we made some follies, and we haven't been able to find certain things no matter how hard we try. So here you go. This is this. So you can use it for things like polymer clay. But you look, it's easy to press in. You look at the video, it's easy to press in, especially when you've worked the polymer clay over and over and over again, so it's really nice and soft. The humidity and the heat and the Humidex here in Toronto at the moment is, I'm hoping you guys can hear me okay. We do have the air conditioner running on low, but it's just too sticky in here. And I've been sick for a few days. Not COVID. It's more a tummy thing, a heat exhaustion thing, mixed with overnight sweats and issues sleeping because of menopause. Yay! Men respect your women! Our bodies don't know what they're doing at this time of life. So, yeah, there's a number of factors in play here. And it also plays on the polymer. So with the heat being the way it is and the humidity, and I was turning off the AC because I was doing some Facebook stuff, and yeah, it got mushy pretty fast. So it was really easy to push into the mold. Unfortunately, as you see, I'm just using the end of one of my sculpting tools to push it into all the little details. Like I said, these are meant for liquid, so usually you pour it into the details, which is how you get the details. Polymer clay is not liquid. You can get liquid polymer clays, but please note, those have to be set in the oven itself. This will not take the heat of the oven. As you see, it did not even take the heat of the dishwasher. Okay? And the oven that you're setting it at will be higher than the heat of the water in the dishwasher.
Yep.
So, here, Martin, be ready. There we go.
Ready?
So,
With this?
yes. Had to push it in, had to really, and it was really easy. But as you see in the video, I'm struggling to get it out. And when I try to get it out, it will get to that point any moment now. When I'm struggling to get it out, I basically, what just happened?
I just a little jump drive fell off the shelf.
Oh.
It's okay.
Something went flying across.
Flying across?
Yeah. Oh, this. It fell on a bead.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I struggled to get it out without warping it because, again, it got really soft and mushy because of the heat and humidity. It would have been harder to get out but less likely to warp it if I was, doing something that wasn't and that wasn't how do I put it? If I had something that had something in the back, like what I did on that one, and did we not get to a point where we got it out? Did that piece of video not? Yep, we only pushed it in.
Okay.
I guess the part where I pull it out is on another video. Sorry, folks. It will all probably be edited and up on Instagram soon in fast motion without the conversation, because the conversations are going to happen here. So pushed it in. As I went to get it out, the little loop kept coming out of it. So Martin's going to show you once I figure out. Hang on, I got to turn on the appropriate camera. We are getting the hang of it. I really need. At some point, I'm going to make Martin the person that just does this while I do this.
The technical director?
Yeah, why not? There's two of us. We might as well split jobs instead
That's
of hogging
true,
each
yeah.
other. So you got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to transition. Okay, there we go. So you can see I successfully pulled it out, but Martin, flip it over. If you see the little loop, right? My polymer clay was so soft and so pliable. I got some beautiful detail in the face, but that loop kept pulling out. If it wasn't that mushy, I may not have gotten as much detail in the face. Show the face, please. I may not have gotten as much detail in the face, but I would have been able to pull it out easier, especially if the loop was like in the back. So you can do like buttons this way and stuff like that. But as you see, you know, it didn't. It worked, but it didn't work. I had to reattach the loop after the fact, redo some extra polymer clay on the back in order to trap the loop. And you can see there's even a little bit of a seam where I didn't completely blend it, because of course you see at the back there, I didn't completely blend it because holding on to it, especially in its softer state, holding on to it, I was mushing the face as I worked with it. So you don't want to have to put it back in and struggle to get back out and redo this process. Now, if you're only doing something like one-off, I don't have a sample of that yet. I will do this when we do have that broadcast, the series of broadcasts on just molds. If I'm doing something one-off, then it makes sense to just use plasticine. Like the artist plasticine is just fine. You can push the polymer clay in, and then you can bend the plasticine away from the polymer clay. And that gets it out of the mold really quick. But there's things that with plasticine you got to be careful. It can warp a little bit if you're not careful. Don't handle the polymer clay while you're working with the plasticine. I just push it straight in and straight out. If you can't get it out, you will have to take the plasticine off, but then keep in mind you're now warping it. So you have to try to get it flat again. So plasticine's a good, really quick, easy fix, especially something that's a basic design like this. And if you don't care, if it's something organic and natural, like a leaf shape or a petal shape, plasticine is a good way to go, because you can use the artist plasticine. You can use like the dollar store plasticine, but it crumbles over time, so you're not going to get much use out of it. Again, if you're just doing one or two knockoffs and you're doing something organically shaped, it doesn't matter that you peeled it off. Just make sure there's enough plasticine that you can put it down. And if it's, each one will be slightly different, because every time you put it down, it'll warp, because it's not a solid form. Solid form increases your chance of getting a better look to the product, to your final product. But yes, this is a pain in the ass to get it out without, and you can see that the dishwasher has definitely done damage.
Mm-hmm.
As I was trying, I used this one, by the way, as I was trying to get it out. Everything cracked even further. The last time I used this was for air dry, which will be the next subject matter, will be air dry products and polymers. I prefer air dry when working with the kids because there's no oven, but the kids will have to go away in the understanding that they're not going to get their final results until the next day, because air dry really needs to sit. And so that's what I'm going to do between now and Friday. If we can get enough subject matter in on here, I will branch off into the air dry stuff and show you that I'm going to do a series of skulls, might as well. And it'll be, this is one that was left for 24 hours. This is one that was left for 12. This is one I tried to work with paint right away. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll find a more interesting mold instead of skulls, because painting, different colors and everything. But the longer you let the air dry sit, the better. The air dry I'm going to be using is made out of recycled, and basically I like to call regurgitated paper.
Pulpy, good.
Technically, it is.
That's
They
right.
heat it up. They add it with lots of water. They mush
Yeah.
it back together, and they turn it into an air dry clay.
Right.
Right. That's friendly for kids because if the kids put it in their mouth, they're eating paper.
So it's kind of like working with paper mache putty almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to do some paper mache masks for you guys too, because, and we'll let you know where we're selling off the samples that don't get sent out, because things like masks and stuff and the larger samples, you know, which means we have to do more fairy globes because we didn't completely record the because we did it as an Instagram live.
That's right.
I don't
Yeah.
have a
So
recording of the
now that we're
process.
pre-recording a lot of this stuff without having to worry about the dialogue, we can do better. We can do
Better, bigger,
better, stronger, faster.
faster. Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Yeah, that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't grow up in the 70s, did we?
No, we didn't. We didn't. We're lying. We're lying. It's all a lie. We're living in middle-age denial. Anyway, so these are your easy to find cheap molds. Now, when I bought this, it was about,
10 years ago?
no more than
More than
that. 15?
Could be.
About 15 years ago. Since then, you can find candy ones that are a more flexible, food-safe material, which is similar to the next one I'm going to show you. But those might take the heat, but make sure you check on it. And I don't know if a mold release will release it. I'll be very, very honest. So again, when we get some additional funds, we may revisit polymer clay and molds and pick up one of those. You know, check online, look for ones that can take the heat, and sacrifice it. I'd rather pick it up in the U.S. because things like, especially materials and stuff in the U.S., are better priced, which is why a lot of Canadians right now are frustrated with the closure of the border and are trying to order things online because it takes longer to get over now, but because of COVID, but it's still a better deal even with the dollar conversion. Okay, so if you've got one of these or you see a design you really want, all you have to do is very carefully get it out of the mold because you don't have any way to really push against, right? It's a solid mold. It's a plastic mold. By that token, I have been asked before if polymer clays and metal molds work. No, that's an absolute no, because no matter how unsoft you get your product and you put the hook in and whatever, so you can pull out through the back, that metal's going to hold even with a mold release. You may affect the surface of the polymer clay, because not all mold releases get along with polymer clay. And that again will be a future set of broadcasts. We're going to do molds, mold releases, and all that stuff. All Martin and I need to do is get enough funding together that we can afford everything that we want to teach you guys. Okay, we have to reintroduce ourselves because it's been a few years and a lot's happened in just a few years. Note to those of you who've asked us about Warbla, because it's on my brain, I'm going to throw it out there. Yay, menopausal woman. Those of you who've asked about Warbla, we don't use it because it's too heat sensitive. I noticed that Joanne's in the States and Michael's in the States are clearing out a lot of their Warbla. So if you love this stuff, it's a good time to go find out which locations are clearing it out. It could be a COVID thing, because I've been asked, do I think it's a COVID thing, or if Warbla is going out of style and use. Could be a COVID thing. Could be they were too late in the game, so they're not selling enough because people have been buying direct from Warbla for years. Or it could be, yes, it's going out of style, and there are other techniques now that people are going to be teaching you. So we'd like to update our own skill set. We have it in here, but we want to make sure that the products we're teaching you about are the most up-to-date version of those products. So I may revisit all this later on. Okay? Okay. People?
Okay. All right.
Right?
All right.
So, you just gave him blank wood, and that's not the subject matter.
Excuse me?
You just gave him blank wood, and forget it. All right.
Turn off the webcam for now, or
Yes.
let's consider it.
Well, you can put it against your black shirt and give him black space. See?
You can see my heartbeat. No.
If they can see your heartbeat, that means they can see your nipple. do you really want to have that
Not
happen?
really. Yeah. I just-
It's just, yes. See, that's quicker than doing the transitions and all that stuff. All right, so polymer clays and molds. Now, like I said, we will revisit the whole molding process thing later. If you have your favorite type of polymer clay, would love to hear from you. And I'd like to also put in here that there's some people who've gotten a hold of us and said they have leftover materials in their arsenal of stuff. We did leave a lot behind, including partial materials or partial products, partial projects that we were going to pull apart to make other projects happen. And there was a lot left behind. So if you have materials that you're not using right now, even if it's older stuff, and you're willing to ship it to us, we would love to consider it. Just please make sure you send us a message first to make sure that, yes, it is something that we will use and we will put active in the broadcasts, in the projects. And if you're a part of an organization or a company that has a new product on the market,
New product on the Martin.
market.
What are we testing on me now?
Well, a new product on the market, then
I'll let it be known right now that I'm against animal testing, especially on this animal.
oh, you're an animal now, are you?
Apparently.
All right,
Yeah.
equal rights
Better
for
than-
martins.
Not a mineral or
Hold
a
on,
vegetable.
isn't a martin a type of animal?
It's two different types of animals, depending on how you spell it. It's either a little weasel, or it's a type of bird.
Which one's spelled like you?
The bird, fortunately.
Oh,
Yes.
it's not as funny.
I know.
Cute little bird. It's not as funny. It's funnier if it was the weasel.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be hard on the weasel.
Mm-hmm.
I used to say that to actors all the time. Anyway, if you're associated with a company that's got a new product coming on the market, then we would love to get a chance to work with the product and expand our brains and stuff. And by all means, get a hold of us and let us know. All right, on to number 2. Now, number 2, where's the time? Oh, the timer's on yours.
We have 9 minutes to
We
go.
have 9
Okay.
minutes to go. Okay, let's see if we can do this in 9 minutes. If not, then that's where we'll pick up on Friday. So, I'm going to hit fast forward. Okay, so number 2 is basically a 2-part putty. Where's the little... oh, there she is. Okay, so... webcam it, Martin. Distracting things out of the way. Oh, you can do that too. Fine. Okay, so basically we got her from Michael's. Their little figures were going on sale. She's the one we used for this one.
Hey,
Well, you're
they
too
look
close.
Sisters.
You're too close. And this one. Okay.
Triplets. There we go, that's better.
So that's what we used for those 3. Well, for those 2. So basically what I did was, as you see in the video, why is the video... Oopsie, I think what Martin did... Oh, there's me taking it out.
Oh, okay.
So you
It was
managed
there.
to put a little bit of video in between.
Oh,
Martin's never...
okay. Yeah.
So yes, it was
Put a
very
bang of that.
difficult. It was very difficult to get out.
I'm not an editor here. I'm learning.
It was very, very difficult to get out. Alright. I did get it out. As you see, I had to fix it a little bit. So let's move on to this one. There we go. Hang on a second. Okay, so we took her from a little fantasy kit. You can see she's got a little crown. Okay. Normally I would do things on the product that I pull out on the mold. I would get rid of things like the crown, but again, temperatures here and heat and all this other stuff that got in the way. Don't worry. Again, better video will be edited and put up on Instagram. But the heat got in the way, and my polymer clay was getting really, 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 really mushy. So I didn't cut out the crown. If you look at the other 2 that I took from the mold, you'll see that I put a really high bouffant on the mermaid, and on the other one I put. I don't think webcams are designed to focus that close, so you can pull back a little bit. It's okay. And on the other one, I did a flower to kind of disguise, a really thin flower to kind of disguise her crown, you know, where it is and what's happening. So I'm going to just there we go. So
Quick
as you
time,
can
quick
see,
time.
there's a number of companies on the market. We use a lot of smooth-on products, but you can also there's a German company and there's a French company that you can get in the smaller craft stores. Desserts sells from a French company, is it?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes. And there was another craft supplier that was selling it from a German company. And, smooth-on products have exclusive distributors. And that's why sometimes, especially if they're exclusive distributor in your neck of the woods, it doesn't have, isn't open at the hours that you need, then you're going to have to go to a craft store. You're going to pay more, and it comes in smaller quantities, but you're going to have to go to the car. It's just the way it is. So know that there's a lot of two-part putties out there. Now, the nice thing about what we're doing with the polymer clay is we didn't have to build a box or anything. As you see in the video, we just basically built up around her. I didn't bother with her hands or her feet, didn't get into any heavy detail. If I was going to exactly replicate her, it would be like a more liquid two-part molding process, again, something that we can do later on. But for what I was doing, all I really needed was her torso and her face, because everything else I was going to build below anyway. So you can see that the dress, Martin's holding up you can see the figure in the middle. Her dress, right, doesn't exist on either one of these, right? So I only pushed into the mold once it was done, at the upper torso and the face. Now, again, small, teeny, tiny little details. And this, similar to plasticine, this is going to last you forever. Well, not forever, but a very long period of time. Plasticine, once you pop the figure out, you've warped the mold.
Mhm.
So if you're going to use plasticine, again, because you're only looking at a quick one or two knockoff, then what you want to do is you want to take your original and you want to glue something to the back of it so you can pull it straight out. Or if you're willing to sacrifice the original, drill some holes and put a loop through or whatever, but you're going to want to be able to lift straight out. You're going to get a little warpage with plasticine, but not a hell of a lot. So again, it's if you're only knocking off a couple of them, that's the best way to do it. And this is where the polymer clay problem happens, because to get it out, see, there's the set one, so you can see she's mostly buried in there. The little boy's cut off because we only did the females for this. I'm going to do like a prince to go with the mermaid and stuff like that, so I'll be using that one eventually. So you can see it's just a matter of just getting the original out. The original can't be something really soft, or you're going to wind up with the same problems. Keep in mind, these two-part putties for molding do warm up. It is a chemical reaction. Most molding processes or products are two-part, so they have a chemical reaction. They will heat. So make sure whatever you're casting or molding will take that heat. If you've got something antique that you're trying to make replicas of using the polymer clay, please be careful. This stuff will heat up less than the two-part liquids, but you're not going to get as much detail. Right? So 6 of one, half a dozen of another. This is less likely to damage the item, not necessarily less likely to damage the paint job. Okay? So you can see me pulling it out. I cut away the excess that came because I'm not worried about the details on her hands. Like I said, I only needed her torso and her face. If I liquid pour, like if I do the liquid in here, I can't guarantee this stuff will go into the oven. Double check. Smooth On does about 4 different versions of the two-part, the putty. So this is the cheaper one. So it was just for demonstration purpose. But her face, I don't know if you can see. She can't get that close. You can see her face in there. So that was my primary focus, was that face, right here. Because I have two hands. You
Two hands.
Right.
There she is.
So you can just see the face. Right? But of course, to pop her out, I'm going like this on a soft polymer clay. Okay? So the chances of warpage, again, increases with the softer your clay is. The softer your polymer clay is, because you've worked it and worked it and worked it, or in this case, unfortunately, heat, the easier, as you see, it pushes into the mold. Now, I think that one, I am casting the fairy. Yes, I believe I am. So, that one is...
Here we go.
I put in some of the blue dress. It's kind of hard to see, but at this size, it's not that accurate. Here, turn that back. Right, so you can see I pushed all that in first, and it's the silver mixed with the blue to get that look. So it's the same as the mermaid's tail and stuff like that. I'm trying to keep things out of the background so it's as neutral as possible. There we go. Maybe we need little boxes or something with a black.
With the camera,
but it's not going to focus that close. Please back up.
Please back up. Please back. Oh, there's a bit better light for the face.
There you go.
There.
Back up.
That's not so bad.
Or maybe go down, because you're too much of an angle. Martin's not a camera person.
Not focusing.
Stay down, stay straight, and then back up.
Oh, there she goes.
There you go. Just you keep angling, you're getting her flower on her face. So we look at her face, so you can see we got a lot of detail. Even though the polymer clays were really, really, really soft, it was really hard to maintain the detail as I worked on her. But I pushed the blue dress in first, and then I pushed the body in. And the body and the face. That way the material that I wanted, but you have to be really careful with the powder to get that skin tone. So when you put the eyeshadow powder on, you got to make sure it doesn't get on the dress. So a smaller brush, I should have used the smaller eyeshadow brush. But yeah, I pushed in the blue first and then the white. So I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit on the video. So that's, and you see the mermaid, she looks just as good, but because I kept her much paler, because mermaids, living at the bottom of the ocean and the sea, it's just their skin is not very dark. But so she's much paler, so she's a different dusting. I didn't think of creating. I did not think of creating the shells first. I should have, and I should have dusted her skin after I dusted her skin first, then put the shells in. And the problem with that, of course, was they didn't stick properly, so I lost a lot of the detail in the shells. So if I make another mermaid, I will take more time. But the fairy on the one side, the fairy took about an hour, and the mermaid took an hour and a half. But the mermaid took an hour and a half mostly because of her hair, not because of anything else. And I couldn't decide how big or small I wanted the tail. So I struggled with it for a while. And the mermaid, and both of them are painted after the fact. Yay, Martin. He put on his amplifying,
magnifying goggles and a little teeny tiny brush,
and painted their faces for us. So yeah, so there's those two there, but those came from her again, and you can see the process. So what I'm doing right now is there's a little metal, because the metal's not going to really stick to the polymer clay right away, not like that. A little metal ball sculpting tool that I'm using to push the polymer clay in. Sorry guys, I was just checking how much time is left, because we're out of the half an hour, and we'll do another half hour on Friday. So once we get more patrons on the upper levels that are watching these videos and spending this time with us, we will be able to pick a better time. If that highest level of complete one-on-one, like private sessions, is not the preferred level, and we start getting more and more at these lower two levels, then we will eliminate the higher level. If this is the way you guys want to talk, we're not going to fight. So push, 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 push. So you can see that's me pushing in the white, and I put it behind the blue because there's no point in trying to get the dress worked up all the way. And in her case too, thankfully, is the jars are being filled with sugar. So you can't see the fact that her dress is not complete on the back. Because the more you fuss with it before it's baked, of course, the more likely you are to warp the face. So there you go, it's coming out, and there you go. Okay? So I only put a little bit of blue to the back because I didn't want to warp it too much. I'm massaging down the puffs of the sleeves because I didn't want the puffiness of the sleeve. And for her hair and the flower, cover the crown. Thankfully, I found a figure with a teeny tiny little tiara type crown instead of a big massive kingly, clunky queen crown, because trying to get rid of that would have been next to impossible. Now, if you've got the patience and a few hours to work on it, and it's really something that's very special to you, then you can easily do tiny little flowers or something over top of a bigger crown and still have it happen quite successfully. So, there you go. Polymer clay, and I'm trying to figure out what is what. Keep the camera there, please, Martin. Polymer clay and molds. And again, these are videos that we will revisit. These are subject matters that we will revisit later on, simply because we're only restarting. This was not originally what our Patreon was set up for a number of years ago. It was set up for actually building things, creating things, and having them as tier levels, as gifts. And it was all laser cutter stuff, and we did a great job. But once we were really building and building and building, but once the laser cutter was at a point where it had to start being packed to be moved, and things had to come apart, the Patreon didn't make any sense anymore. So because of that, we had to let it go. So some of you who were part of that, we had to let it go. So that's why it went away, and that's why it it suddenly was not viable anymore. And Martin's watching closely as to what I'm doing, so he can do the same thing, hopefully, for the next broadcast. So we're going to head out very soon, and hopefully more of you will be able to make it on Friday, and hopefully Martin will have the hang of this, so that we can. Brain is see, and this is why he's going to get the hang of this, so we can be able to give you a much smoother broadcast. Those of you who are already supporting us, thank you so much, because it really is appreciated. So thank you, and we're good, we're happy, and we really do love the support, guys. It's been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible, and it's made us very happy during the whole COVID times to have something to do, and that resembles our art and gives back. It has been a little crazy for us trying to move during COVID and trying to settle during COVID, and there's a lot still ahead of us, though, so that's an important thing. So we're gonna say goodbye, see you later, all the other stuff, and hopefully you'll be getting creative soon, or letting us know if you want us to build a project. We're happy to record any projects we're building for you as well. If you want a recording later on as to how we did it, we're cool with that. But that's all individual quotes, and that kind of thing is no longer part of our Patreon as a tier, because it became non-feasible. But hey, if we can make you something and do video of it,
all the better.
Yeah. Just remember, your project may be used in a future video, at least aspects of it. All right, folks. We're gonna go, and thank you so much for watching.